live.
Which camera are we on?
That one over. That no, that one. We're on that camera. We are live.
Yes, we are live.
Hello. Hi. We're Pear of Geeks. I'm Becky.
And I'm Jason.
And we're going to be talking to you for the next couple of hours. And you can write your questions in the chat and we'll talk about them.
Yes. Speaking of which, we haven't got the first one on display.
We can easily make it on display. Sorry, the thing ran out of battery.
That camera was very short-lived.
We've got this fancy, which camera? Are we on this one? Yes.
Yes.
We're on this one at the moment. So, we have this fancy camera here, which we wanted to try out ahead of using it at the convention. Only it turned up with very little battery.
Make sure it's actually still working with the sound.
Okay. Turned up with very little battery, and I think I used it all during setup.
Sound.
No sound.
No sound.
No sound. You are kidding me. Why is there no sound? How about now? Can you hear stuff?
Oh, apparently Ronnie can hear. Then why is this not?
Oh, because that's muted.
Oh! Well, that's alright then. I couldn't see, the screen's tinted. Okay, fine.
Awesome. Right, now we're on that camera then.
Yes.
Right.
Hello.
So we've got 3 of our cameras set up plus this new fancy one. It's charging, so we will get that out later and we'll do a little bit with it with like the 3% battery we'll be able to get in this period of time, because it is quite cool.
Yes.
It is. Right. So there is a thing on screen already, and that's because the thumbnail is actually the live chat we did from 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Google now uses the same thumbnail. And that, of course, was the Maldra car from Reaper Miniatures, which is one of the prizes at this year's convention. Along with the Dragons Don't Share setup, which is another amazing dragon. So that Reaper Miniatures are not the only miniature company backing us, though.
No, we've done really well so far with miniatures.
There's actually quite a few mini companies, but we've actually received some more through the post.
Yes.
Since last week. So we're going to look at these ones.
Things.
Let's look at these ones. We might actually need to adjust that camera there, the near one.
Yes. We have more people in the chat.
We do? Oh,
yes.
Good. So
hello, everybody.
Let's go through and show. We'll show the big one.
I was going to say we can't really show that at all.
There's a close-up camera right there.
Oh yeah, that's true. Here.
Right,
which camera is that?
That is camera 2.
I literally can't.
That third row down.
That one.
Yeah. If you take the middle column, there's a version of camera 2 without the question overhead, and then that way I can get the thing on screen. Okay. So this is from Atlantis Miniatures.
Atlantis Miniatures.
Alright, and they do these really high detail resin miniatures. Now this one is a 3-part model. Obviously it's not all glued and prepped and stuff. So I'm going to kind of hold it in place, and that's apparently the intro.
Is it this? Oh, there.
Yeah, there we go. Right, apparently it's that one. Right, so
the screen's really far away. I can't read.
This is a kind of a mounted unit. So this guy sits on here.
Walrus tusks.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think it's an Orc King. Yeah, Orc King. So he's riding this big. I'm going to put the bits down one at a time. So this is the mount for the Orc King.
Yeah, I mean
it's a monster of a thing. It's a troll, I'd say.
Yeah.
So there's the mount, and then here's the king that kind of goes on the back of it. This is a 2-part model.
Maybe it's like a sea troll or something if it's got those tusks. It looks a bit like a turtle anyway with the.
It does, but that's the saddle.
I know that's a saddle, but you know, sea troll.
That's the main dude. We've also got a unit of Orc Great Boar Riders.
Because, yeah, obviously there are many orcs who can ride boars.
Yeah, so there's 3 of these. I'm just going to get one of the boars out for now. I won't get all of them out. So here we go. Here's one of the boars. Hopefully that's coming out in focus.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It does make the boar inside look a little bit inferior.
Oh, what, compared to the giant troll?
No. In Scythe, there's that ball miniature.
Oh, in the Scythe board game?
Yes. Well, in the expansion.
Compared to this, yes, the Scythe minis are nowhere near this quality.
You don't often get ball miniatures. I don't see them very often. They're not really an animal that people think of a lot when it's like D&D, in my opinion.
Well, no, I suppose you're right.
Right, so who's this?
It says on the label, it is a troll shaman.
A troll shaman. I say shaman, you say shaman.
Really?
Shaman.
Who's correct?
Shaman.
Obviously.
Shaman. See what I did there?
No, I didn't understand at all.
It's in Game of Thrones. Shame, shame, shame.
Oh.
Man. Right, so there are some legs here that have been decapitated, a bit like Darth Maul. Which means that he's going to come back to life at some point. This then glues on, but it won't stay, so I'm going to just hold him up. So he looks like that.
Right close, because I can reach a bit further.
He hasn't got any arms, because they've also been decapitated.
There we go. So that is stunning.
But yeah, holy moly. And
wow.
hands and, of course, the giant shaky stick. Which has got lots of awesome... Oh, they're skulls. I wasn't sure they were skulls or shrunken heads, but they're skulls, lots of them. I love the detail on the sort of gnarliness of the wood even as well.
Yeah,
really,
that
really
dry
detailed.
brush nice, that well.
Yeah. Wow.
Alright, so yeah, these came through in the week since we did our last live stream.
They could be yours, more to the point.
They could be. Compass, October the 9th to the 11th, is it? Or is it 11th to 13th? I should know this.
11th to the 13th.
Thank you. Yeah, and then tune in to Pear of Geeks on the 11th to 13th. Good chance of you winning this stuff, along with many other prizes.
Yes.
So I know it's impossible off the top of the head to remember everyone. There's been a load come in the last 2 days that we've not yet put on the website.
No, some of them are still to be confirmed. I'm still talking to them, so I can't really reveal too much yet. But it sounds brilliant.
Okay, let's go through. So, yeah, there was a bit of a conversation before we went live with myself and JM, who was playing Dead of Daylight whilst waiting for the stream to start. Hopefully you're still here, JM. Right, so, first question, it's Ronnie saying good evening.
Hello,
Hello, Ronnie. And then we've got, yeah, confirming this out. So, just so you know, this tiny little thing is our chat monitor for the night. Not this mic. This is our microphone when we're on the weird camera that's run out of battery. So
we're using
it fine.
This one underneath the chat. We have so much
so
tech set up this
there
time.
There is not. Well, it's a tech trial run.
Yeah.
So this is.
If you can hear slurping, by the way, it's our kitty. She's
yes,
a very noisy
she's
eater.
having a dinner. Yeah, we're trying some of our tech that we're going to use later in the year, because we've got a lot of new bits. The cameras are still our old cameras, but we've got some interesting stuff. But this is, of course, the ticker.
Yes. Is there a close up for that somewhere?
It's on the Mevo, and that's run out of battery.
Never mind then.
But you can see we've been raising money already. So go to, let's try one of the other cameras. We're on.
Oh, that's camera one.
So go for the ones with B, the ones without the overlay.
Okay, it's again hard to read them.
That
from
screen
so far
is a long
away.
way away.
My prescription is up to date, babe.
Go 2 rows down.
Yes.
What's that camera?
That's close up.
All right. What's the one in the bottom left?
Bottom left, camera 3 is that one.
Okay. What about bottom right?
Scene. A blank scene.
Apparently, I didn't set that one up. Stop changing scenes. Right.
Well, I'm setting it to a camera.
Right. Okay. Right. Sorry about all the relentless graphics there. Right. Yeah.
Hello,
Moonman.
Moonman.
Hey, Moonman.
I wonder why he is here today. No, I was talking to him earlier.
Ah, cool. Well, it's great to see you back and watching. And Phil's in as well. Hi,
Hello,
Phil. Ronnie said something here. I am hopefully going to be running an RPG during Complus 2, but I'm also considering filming some board game plays and uploading them to my channel and giving the link for others to watch. Yeah, I mean, we do want to open up Complus 2 to board games this year.
Yes.
But we're not going to be doing board game prizes on the telethon.
No, just because
Postage costs.
postage is insane.
Yeah, we need to get the convention a little more established before we break into board games and start doing that.
But yeah, if you want to run like board games and stuff and stream them or record them, then yeah. do so.
Hell yeah. But you don't have to stream your games this year as well. That's something.
No, that's why I said hence record if you'd rather record, or you don't have to do any.
Yeah,
you can just play stuff.
Just play stuff.
Talk
just
about
get it going and stuff. And Moonman is confirming just how good those Atlantis miniatures are.
They're really good.
And Phil. All right.
90s band.
The way you were saying Shaman.
Shaman. I've always called them Shaman.
You're so wrong. Oh, yes, so we played a game of Scythe with Phil.
And I thrashed you all.
Jason won.
Yes, I won. Because, as I'm learning inside, it's not just about getting as many points or preparing yourself for points as possible before the end game, but also making it the end game before everybody else has reached a point to get enough points.
One more turn.
Yeah, that's what I've said many times.
If you think you're in a position that the way you think you're leading, then yes, ending the game early is a good strategy, which is what you did.
Yes.
But if you're not leading, that's a sucky strategy. And next time.
Yeah, well.
Next time.
In terms of popularity, I wasn't leading, but I noticed that I had more money considerably than other people, and I thought, well, look, I need to put stars down, or else you'll put them down first, which means that you'll get more for it and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'll just put them straight down. And
if the game had ended a turn later, I'd have scored about double points.
Well, you did not.
Well, that's because you played well.
But yes, Phil, we can have a rematch.
We're actually playing the
Rise of Fenris
expansion. Yeah, the third expansion. It's sort of a legacy game.
Yeah, there's like a story to it and stuff.
Hey there, Dragon.
Hello, Dragon Quetra.
I was wondering how you were going to pronounce that. I was kind of looking to you, but I was a few milliseconds ahead of you in getting to that part of the word.
Kitty's making weird noises.
Well, she's a cat, that's what she does. Okay.
Oh, she was eating grass again this morning. There was this bit of grass sticking out of her mouth. It was so funny.
Oh, poor kitty.
She wouldn't let me go near it.
What is our first topic?
Our first topic is... now, this is something that I've not seen that much in our games, but apparently it is a thing in that people are a bit worried to start with level 1 characters in a campaign. They want to start with them a little bit stronger, maybe level 3 or even level 5. So the question is, what do you do with level 1 characters in a campaign or in like a multi-adventure scenario?
Okay. I still can't connect to that camera, god damn it.
Then answer the question.
I know, what was it? I was Right, so how do we... What do we do with level 1 characters, yeah?
Yes. What kind of things do you throw at them to keep it balanced?
I don't think it changes a campaign at all. I think that fundamentally the level of the character doesn't change how you prep and what you do. It simply restricts how many monsters you might put into an encounter if you're doing a fantasy game with a bit of combat. You would probably choose weaker monsters and fewer of them. And I said fewer. You
did say fewer. You have learned from the great Stannis the Manus. There's too many Game of Thrones references in this stream, but it's starting in like 4 days, so...
I know, I'm so looking forward. Next Monday,
Yeah, because we're in the future, so we have to wait till we wake up before we can watch it.
I go to work and you'll be off work if you watch it without me.
I'm not going to. Why would I do such a terrible, terrible thing? Relationship breaker.
You could watch it without me, but when I watch it, I expect you to react like you did when you first watched it.
Oh my god, I didn't
but
see
also
that
not
coming.
speak. Do not talk over Game of Thrones.
I'm not going to watch it before you.
So I think
Anyway.
level 1 characters aren't really any different to level 4. But here's the thing, I actually prefer, like if I'm playing D&D, I prefer to do it at lower level.
Yeah, same. I know in particular you are all like, oh, I hate kind of high level characters, like level 10, 11. I've never played that either.
10 to 12 level in D&D, to me, feels like endgame power. And if you go beyond that, it just starts getting ridiculous. And some players will end up with so many
Do you know what
actions
it
and
feels
bonuses.
like to me, especially with spellcasters, when you get to that stage, it's almost like Warcraft, in that you're stacking up this power thing, and then you've got this ability, and you've got to keep track of all this stuff, and like micromanaging and multitasking organization. It's like, no, it sounds way too kind of based on mechanics at that point.
It does become a more mechanical game. It has an action economy where you're trying to get the most out of your action, your bonus action, and so on.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's like
low level,
likey.
Low level for me feels much more gritty. But even D&D, first level, you're still very much a hero.
It's not too bad. I've run loads of level 1.
Yeah, you're still a hero. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I kind of wish D&D's first level was you were quite ordinary, and like what is level 1 in D&D was really the kind of power of a 4th level character, and 20th should be where about 12th is now.
Yes.
That's my thinking on it. Hello, Timothy Hawkins.
Hello.
Now, Timothy is a fairly new DM in the 5e universe. Would you elaborate on how much time you personally prep for a session and what that encompasses? Do you have notes and use apps?
Ooh.
Well, if you're going to use apps, I can highly recommend the Ultimate Games Master,
Yes.
because they're a sponsor.
Yes, they are a sponsor, but also, we've seen their stuff and it looks really cool.
It does.
I like it. There's a lot of like streamlining for organisation. It's got this really nice sort of interface on it's iPad and phone, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, do tablets and phones.
Yeah, tablets and phones. So you can have it at the table as well with you.
And if you've got a smart home, it'll actually control your lights as well.
Yes,
so you can do it all
yes.
in ambience.
So lots of aesthetic stuff going on. But yeah, also it's got these really nice dynamic character sheets.
What's interesting
Yes.
for me with the Ultimate Games Master is it's not just a GM app. Your players
No,
can
exactly,
have
yeah,
an
your
app as
players
well,
can
and
do
it'll
it,
all
yeah.
link in. And that's a really cool part of that app to me.
Yeah, which is really
So-
cool. There is a couple more that I can think of in terms of apps that I've used. One of them was called Campaign Logger. I used that for a bit, which is kind of like Twitter, where you can put tags in.
Are they sponsoring us this year?
I am still talking to them.
Okay.
They did last year though, and we gave some away. So yes, nice, and again, you can have it at the table because it's on your phone. You can type very, very quick notes. It's very, very seamless in that way. But me, I personally don't use apps for prepping. Recently, getting back into the scene, I've started using the Return of the Lazy DM approach, which, you can go, there's like videos you can watch even if you don't want to buy the books or anything, but basically it's very, very kind of, it's not a shortcut, but it's just getting rid of all the like fog you might have in your head and just putting it down to a few different little points. Like you don't just like, you don't kind of go through consecutively like, okay, we start here, it kind of goes to here, then it goes, it's not sort of linear at all. It's more setting up NPCs and like points of interest, things that your characters can discover. And also that way it's a lot easier to improvise, not only in terms of whereabouts the characters want to go, there's more freedom for them and for you, but also what actually happens while that's going on, like in the story.
Yeah, from what I've seen of his approach, because I haven't read The Lazy DM, but I did skim read some of the pages. And it seems he very much tries to set things up, or tries to encourage you to set up a story in such a way that when you design an element for your adventure, it's not rigid and hard-coded to this thing is in this place and it can be discovered by doing this. What he does is he gives you something that I tend to work this way myself anyway, but he gives you this idea that says, right, I'm going to have this thing, this encounter or this item, and it's not locked into a particular place in the adventure.
Exactly. It's a
if the
thing
players
you can
go that
discover.
way, I can still use it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, and I like that approach. I do some similar things as well, and I think it's a great approach. But for me, when I'm prepping, the first question is this a campaign or is this a one-shot?
Yeah, it is different.
Or a short adventure.
Yeah, it's different.
So a short adventure, I typically do a 3-act structure.
Yeah, with one-shots, I agree. I'm still more averse to the 3 acts, but keep them simple.
Yeah, so you have your setup, you have your conflict, and you have your resolution.
And keep them a bit ambiguous and fluid as well. So even if something does deviate away from the plot, you can still pull it back in.
Yeah, and I always like to start my one-shots. Actually, no, I always like to start every single game ever with high action, an explosion or some chase scene or some kind of drama.
Yeah.
If it's a campaign, what I like to do is draw the world map.
Okay.
I like to draw the world, because when you're putting the world map down, the history of the world starts to build itself as you do these things, and then you might start drawing a desert and you go, oh, okay, we've got a desert here. So, what does that mean for the ecology? And then, all right, I want to put, a valley in. Well, that means I've got to have a river, so the river's got to come from highlands somewhere. So that means there's some mountains, and you put the mountains down. And as you're doing that, you kind of begin to get a feel for, you put a fortress down, and you think, well, okay, that's the fortress at the edge of some particular realm or kingdom or earldom or fiefdom of some description. And so you're like, well, has there been conflict? Because I put this down and I put this settlement over there that's mostly orcs, and that settlement over there, well, do they conflict with this settlement or not? Or is it more logical that something else would happen?
Yeah, maps are really, really inspiring. Whilst I haven't done a D&D game for a while, with more modern games I've done, I literally just bring up Google Maps. Even if it's not completely set in the modern world, as it were, it's a nice starting point. So, like, for our Cthulhu game, even though it's set in the 80s, it's still set in a place in America, in Virginia. So I use Google Maps, and then I pull some sort of older, like, trail walking maps for inspiration.
I suppose for fantasy, you can either pull, like, areas of Africa, South America, or the Norwegian coasts.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
fjords.
Yeah. I make sure as well to keep that a bit fluid as well, so I don't go exactly with where everything is literally, if it doesn't quite fit what I want. But it's great for inspiration. So the thing about inspiration is you can look at something or choose something, but it doesn't have to be like a positive thing. It could be you choose not to use it, but that still like says, oh, I don't want to use that, but actually I thought of something better. It's a way of triggering you to actually get ideas, even if you're not going to use the first thing.
Now, of course, if you are going to do a map, I highly recommend Campaign Cartographer, because they're sponsoring us this year.
Yes. Well, you've used a few different things, haven't you, for maps?
I have. Well, I never actually owned Campaign Cartographer.
No.
And then I kind of met them. And
it's been around for a while.
And so, it has. I've looked at it before, but I never took the plunge.
They've got a few different software bits as well. They've got cities, they've got dungeons, I think.
There's a lot going on with Campaign Cartographer. But yeah, I mean it's obviously the one we're obviously going to pimp because sponsors of Compass too. But there are others out there. A free one is Incarnate, but the free license has some really restrictive terms and conditions. Those terms and conditions are less strict if you get the pro license, I believe. But really, if you're going to publish anything that you make with Incarnate, you have to talk to them and get a special license. And so, They want their cut.
Yes.
But how long do you take to prepare for a session? I mean, I will just sit down and run a session without any prep at all. However...
Because you're crazy.
Yeah. However, when you do that, you always run the risk of a not great session.
I just couldn't do that because I'd always lose track of what I come up with. Like, during the session, I'll come up with something, but then I'll forget what I've come up with, and I don't like that. I like to have...
Players will remind you.
No, but they don't. That's the thing. That's the thing. They don't. Yeah, it was really interesting in that before I did the lazy DM approach, I was taking so long just to prep one session, like nearly a whole day. Whereas now, it takes me maximum half an hour. And in terms of, like, do we use notes? I like to use notes. I use sort of a notebook. I normally sort of do a page-ish of notes for each session. I sometimes have, like, post-it notes, especially for initiative. Post-it notes are good. And those prompt cards, I use those for NPC stats sometimes, especially if I'm doing it in real life, so I can just quickly look at them and
I keep
flip through them.
Down here they are. I keep little squares or rectangles of paper. It's just paper, just little tiny bits of paper, and I'll write little notes on there. It also lets me hand out to players very quickly if I need to. I don't like to do secret messages though, but sometimes you have
that
to.
One time.
Well, sometimes you have to pass a message to players. Well, what the Cthulhu game?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that was necessary for that particular plot.
Yes.
Right. Let's move on to. Dragon Querta says, I haven't watched Game of Thrones since halfway through season 1. And you know what? I can understand that. When I
you weren't too sure about it either, were you? You thought the pilot was terrible.
Yeah, I watched season 1, the first episode, because people kept talking about this show, and they said it was a show about dragons and sex, and I would love it. I hated it. I just thought it was a bunch of Yanks running around a wood with no budget.
To be fair, there wasn't really a budget.
No, there wasn't, and it was terrible in that first season. And then you made me sit down and watch that first season. By the end of the first season, I was hooked.
Yeah.
And all I can say is it did get better.
There's quite a lot of exposition to start with, but when sort of plot points start coming in and people start finding out about each other across the houses, no spoilers.
It's basically Wars of the Roses.
Yeah. Then stuff goes whoop.
One thing I have learned through playing with Jason and Becky is prepping session by session rather than trying to prep the entire campaign.
I've never prepped an entire campaign.
Oh, how could you?
I would never do that.
You'd have to be on rails.
Yeah.
That would be the only way to do it.
I thought that was some kind of metaphor, but then I realised what you meant.
No, I mean, really, because, like, if you're the tree is too big of where the story could go, so yeah, definitely session by session.
Yeah.
I'm glad you learned that. Old M, what's that reference to?
I don't know.
No, me either.
Oh,
old maps from charity shops, ordnance survey maps. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's some, like, especially if you wouldn't be able to get them in a charity shop, I don't think, but if you can find some medieval maps, because their understanding of Earth was so warped anyway, and sometimes it wasn't even remotely Mercator projection, it doesn't look anything like reality, so it still looks fantasy.
No small coffee?
So, maybe in a bit.
There's a bit over there.
It's a long way away, isn't it?
Well, yeah, so it's not slap bang in the middle of all the cameras.
This I know it has been in the background of the video you did last week, but
yes,
it's the first time we've live streamed on this table. I think we should show this table off a bit more. Explain what's going on here. This is that the camera furthest? I think so. This is a 10-foot long table. Which camera? That one. That one. It's a 10-foot long table. But most importantly, it's wide now. Because that was the problem with the roll table.
Yes.
This is for Twilight Imperium and role-playing with miniature setups. Because whenever I used to put a miniature setup out, it would fill the entire table, and then where's everyone going to put the character sheets?
Yes.
So we have got an epically big table now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what we didn't do?
What?
We didn't play the Compass graphics.
No, we didn't.
Although you may have done it by accident earlier.
I did, yes.
Let's do it properly.
Okay.
So,
Na 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 na. So what?
I was about to talk and then I'm trying to click buttons. Hang on. Let's get them up back on screen. So Ronnie says, I will be purchasing campaign cartography free as soon as I want the city, dungeon and sci-fi extensions. Fair enough.
I think we just missed yeah, we just missed something on the chat. Dragon Quest also said, campaign cartographer has a huge learning curve. Yes.
Yeah, fair.
True.
I mean, Ralph took me through some of the basics of it, and it was quite simple and quick when he did it, but of course he knows the interface very well.
Yeah, he's fluent.
It didn't look
too bad.
Didn't look too bad, but it struck me as a problem. Sorry, it struck me as a program with a lot of features.
Yeah.
And to learn a lot of features takes a lot of time. But I think if you do basic things with it, then the interface struck me as intuitive enough to be able to do those basic things.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I'm a lot like Becky. I'm very good at winging it. Yeah, winging it for the win.
Well, I'm not saying I don't wing it. I just like to have some basis of what's going to happen, and I'm a bit funny in that I like it to be consistent. I don't like to make up plot holes because I forgot that the characters did something and I didn't remember.
But if enough sessions go by, the players will forget anyway. What we
Yeah, I know, but I won't because I'm a perfectionist.
If the players forget, then it doesn't matter if the detail doesn't add up.
That is one thing that Lazy DM does say, in that it's important to ask the players what's happened in the last session, because then you not only does it give you a little bit of time to maybe get your brain together, but also it's good to see what they actually do remember and what they don't remember.
Okay.
So if you've come up with an idea and they're just not remembering it, then it may be something that you can just let go of and cross off. Or something that they like to talk about a lot, it's like, okay, I can develop on that more.
Well, one of the things that I tend to do, and this is a very YouTuber-y thing, is I tend to... It's kind of locked at the minute. I don't know what's going on with the cameras. They're seems to still be broadcasting, so looks like... I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully they can all still hear us. I don't know, it's... Oh, wait. Is there a... I think the program... Tell you what, let's press escape. Oh no. Right. We've still got a camera, it's fine.
Yeah, we're still live.
Yeah.
Audio's fine, apparently.
Yep, good. Now, what was I going to say though before I got distracted by technology fail?
Selective remembering.
Right. Because I tend to record sessions, and for a while I was recording real life sessions just for my own benefit so I could refer back to them. But then it turns out our real life sessions tend to be many hours long, like up to about 10 hours. Yeah, oh my god. So,
especially because there are at least a couple of you who like to go out for fags every 5 minutes.
So...
It's true though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the worst one for that, and he's out the route now, so he left. So, yeah, I like to watch the end of the last session.
Yes.
Before I run a new game. So, I was doing this when I was running the last online game that I was running. I just watched the last sort of 5-10 minutes, and as soon as you watch that last 5-10 minutes, everything comes back. Which camera? That one?
Yes,
that one.
yes, it is.
Everything comes back. And we really need a system that kind of shows which camera, doesn't it? And I just remember all the little details, just because I've had that few minutes of the last session. What I'm going to do...
Those are greyed out as well.
Yeah, I'm just going to take the mouse, I'm going to go up close to the screen, and I'm going to take a look, and you can talk.
Okay. I will look in the chat over here instead, so I'll just crane my neck. Okay, Ronnie said, I've run sessions with no prep and it can be hectic, but I have also sometimes found it invigorating and exciting for me as much as the players. Yeah, that's very true. I agree. It can be hectic, but it's I don't mind playing with this box. But especially if you're quite a new GM, improving is a good exercise, and there's purple text and stuff going on.
Yeah, and I can't. Normally, when this happens, I go and put a different thing on screen, but they're just gonna have to see my stuff.
Lovely.
Because I can't
There
change
we
it.
go. There we go.
Right.
It's a good exercise to do because it kind of, well, it gets you better at improving for one thing, but it gets you out of the sort of rigidness of this is quite distracting.
Well, I'm trying to fix things.
Gets you out of the richness of your notes being set in stone, maybe. I personally like to balance things. So some improv, some like fragments of ideas, plot points. Yeah, as I said, things that people can discover, and NPCs are the main things that I focus on, as well as like the setting and stuff.
It'd be utterly frozen.
Well, it is, but also isn't, because obviously we're fine. How weird. Okay. Phil says, there are lots of good advice and videos on how to do maps in GIMP or Inkscape. It's not that difficult. No, I personally never actually made maps in GIMP. I do use GIMP quite a lot for sort of simple like photo manipulation and logo making and things, but not maps, no. But yeah, you can definitely do it in GIMP, Photoshop, everything else.
Windows has crashed.
Ah!
So do I risk trying and...
No!
What do we do? Well, what we can do
What we can do...
is just put that, is get a tripod out and put that camera on a tripod and position
Yes,
it
so I'm not constantly doing this with my neck.
I'm sorry about the screen shake here, guys.
It is a necessary sacrifice they will have to make. Nice close-up of your face there.
Right.
Hello. Right, who be that?
I left the mouse over there.
You plonker. Oh, it's tangled with everything.
Tripod. Yeah. Oopsie.
Give me the mousey.
Okay.
Okay. So
Put it
is
onto that
that
screen.
how?
Off the right-hand edge of that one.
Oh right, okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, at least this is still working.
Yeah, that's still what. But the browser's fine. So Phil says there are lots of good advice and videos on how. Oh
Yeah,
right, you
I
read
read
that.
that,
Sorry,
yes.
yeah. I did one. Oh, you skipped past it.
Yeah, his audio was
right.
fine, isn't it?
All right. Improv was how I began my career as a GM, says Dragon Querta. My games were like choose-your-own-adventure books and didn't rely on combat to be this huge thing that needed to grind the game to a setup. To a start. Well, you know, the whole combat grind thing has always been a part of RPG games, just not everyone's game. And it is just a different way to do it. And it's because RPGs came from war games, and I don't mind it. It's not my favourite way to play.
Yeah. But also in Choose Your Own Adventure books, the combat grind is an actual grind. You just roll dice and keep rolling them until you or the statted monster loses. And it's like, yeah, it's just... That's, like, I really like game books, and I've been reading a lot of Fighting Fantasy books recently for a 12-month challenge, but, God, the combat, I just absolutely hate it.
Did I see you the other day you were doing a combat in one of these and you just kind of decided you won or something?
Well, yeah, because basically there were, like... With all the different sort of statted monsters and things, it's like... the whole point really is to beat it, and in my opinion, okay, yes, you could say that you've got to beat the combat, but it's like, I know that this is like the right path, or it seems to be the right path, so it seems kind of stupid to go all the way through again to then get to the combat and just roll dice again and hope that you win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm really doing it for the story and for the achievement of actually getting through with my wits, not because... Especially with the dice I was using when I was at my mum's.
You're blaming the dice?
No, it was a randomizer, like a randomizer dice app thing. Oh my god, I got so many ones and double ones.
Well, that's what truly random numbers do sometimes.
Yeah, but oh my god, seriously.
Alright. We have actually caught up on the chat.
Yes, but we do have other topics.
We do.
And things.
That was my attempt at trying to kickstart Windows back in. Did it?
No. Never mind. Okay. So the next one involves murder hobos.
Not Endless Quest, but CYO.
Yeah, Choose Your Own Adventure.
Oh, no dice needed for Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Oh, not the ones I've read. Like Fighting Fantasy, Destiny Quest. There's a new one that's just come out that I haven't read yet. They all involve dice, but I suppose it's the old school way. It's like, 2d6.
I do remember that. I never really got into them, but I did read a couple where there wasn't any kind of random metric or character sheet. It was just you get to a point and you decide which way you go.
Fair dues.
Right. So, sorry, next question.
Yes. So this one's about murder hobos.
Right.
Because we've had a couple of murder hobo problems, and I am guilty of being a bit of a murder hobo if I'm not careful. Especially with that, not Brawlers.
I think so.
Yeah, there was the Return of the Winged Trinity game, I think it was.
Mm.
Or the one before that, where we were a bit kind of murder hobo-y at times.
Only because the sessions were all unprepped.
That's true, yes.
But
also the instances of like PCs setting places on fire, and I've had that before, and that. So
sometimes murder hobos come from the player, sometimes it comes from the GM.
But the question is, how do you make a campaign tailoring to murder hobos?
Tailoring to murder hobos? Well,
so you've got the players then. The players are very much kind of like, oh yeah, let's just kill this person or whatever.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's that hard. You just put in lots of things to fight. I would be tempted to use miniatures. I used to do this thing years ago, actually not that many years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, where at that point I hadn't yet played 5th edition, and we were doing 1st edition, and so we'd do these campaigns, but every now and then just kind of fancied get together, have a couple of drinks, and just have some fun. And so we'd do these miniature setups. And we'd get 1st edition out, and we'd just go through a dungeon with the most ridiculous plot. I remember one of the first ones we did was when I just got these new the barrels and crates.
Oh yeah.
And so we made Paul's character barrel maker, and somebody had stolen his barrels, and it turned out to be some beastmen type. So beastmen and what are those hobgoblins?
Yeah.
And ogres and things like that were the ones who'd stolen his barrels. And then as they went through the plot of this adventure, killing all the beastmen, going up through this tower, going past all of his stolen crates over every level, because that's the only scenery I had. And eventually they get to the top, and then it all transpires that actually the evil person was the king who Paul had been making these barrels for, and these poor beastmen were just trying to defend themselves. And the players were like, no, don't want to hear the plot, just keep killing, don't hear the plot.
Yeah, you do that quite a lot with Corporation, the last Corporation campaign. We must have killed so many people.
Yeah.
Especially my character.
Every time you killed one, I was like, tell you who their wife and
Yeah.
children were. And, yeah.
They had terminal cancer and you took the last intravenous med pack from them. And it's like, good, great, thank you, lovely.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think when you do a campaign for a group of murder hobos, I don't think it really changes. You just got to make sure that you don't do anything too in depth.
Yeah.
In your plot.
Yeah.
Other than that, I suppose the challenge. Actually, no, there is actually one key challenge, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to wipe the party out with a combat.
Yeah.
That's too hard. So how do you make a combat that is correctly balanced for the party? And I have a couple of cheats here that I have been using for years and nobody has cottoned on yet.
Oh. Go on then.
Well,
Spill the beans.
my players haven't realised, and I'm now about to reveal how I managed to get the combat to be a challenge.
Well, I don't know if any of them are watching.
You're sat next to me.
Well, apart from me,
play
yeah.
my games.
But I wasn't in that Murder Hobos game, for example.
No. So what? There's a number of things I do. Firstly, don't necessarily run combat to the resolution of the last monster dying. It only takes one monster to die, and you can make your monsters run away. They killed Jim! Right? And if not, run away, sue for peace, all kinds of things. So that's the first thing. Anything can trigger the end of the fight. It could be the player going down, maybe they drag their body away. It can be an ally of the monsters going down. It could be, more importantly, and one I use more often, it can be because something substantial has changed in the scene, and that could be the arrival of an ally NPC, which I hate doing that. I don't like doing ally NPCs. What I usually do if the players are losing a fight is I will get a much bigger monster, an even bigger challenge, crash in, maybe it crashes through the walls, maybe it just walks through the door, I don't know, doesn't matter, whatever's appropriate for your situation. Because, and here's why it works, when players are losing, it's usually because they're facing multiple people.
Yeah.
Multiple monsters is harder to fight than an individual. So, a powerful creature, easier for the players to handle, but there is more chance of individual death for both the players and the monsters. So it's justifiable that a group of 6 bugbears will run away from a young dragon. None of those bugbears want to be the one that's going to die. Right? So they run away, and then the players are fighting in a fight that they're more likely to win, even though the monster's more of a challenge.
Or there's the other option of the PCs legging it.
Make sure you give the opportunities for PCs to run away. Once a player goes down, players will generally fight to the death. If there's an ally on the floor...
Not in my experience.
Yeah, if there's an ally on the floor, in my experience, players will continue to fight because they'll fight for that person. And the moment they run away and leave an ally on the floor...
Oh, I wasn't saying that. I was saying, pick them up.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So if you're in the situation that one of your heroes goes down, the last thing you do, if you think the players maybe should run away from this, the last thing you do is get your monsters to move near that down player. You allow the players the leeway they need to escape, because the moment you as a GM close off that escape, that's it. You're going to fight to the death, and you could TPK.
Yes.
Right. That was...
As in Return of the Winged Trinity, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah, Phil was in that.
It was. I had a very pivotal character.
You were all pivotal characters. But I'm glad
Yeah,
you
but I
feel
became a
that way.
friggin' Time Lord.
You all played really key roles.
Yeah, but Arda Sparrowmead, the great Time Lord.
I'm glad you feel that your role is special. It's for everyone.
It was special.
Okay.
It was. I haven't played a bard since then, actually. I quite like bards.
Yeah. Dragon Querta says chaotic evil is the ideal alignment for murder hobos. Don't get me started on alignment.
Yep. I mean, in Corporation, really, the alignments are so skewed. It's like, well, in a way, you are pretty evil, but at the same time, you're supposedly fighting for this corporation. Are they good? It's all you know.
I'm biting my tongue.
I've just thought of another topic.
Okay, it's not alignments, is it?
No, it's not alignments. It was those dwarves and Bill. Am I seeing Wing Trinity again? There was some character called Bill, wasn't there?
Was there?
I think there was. It was your dictatorship dwarven stronghold.
No. Oh, was
Yes,
that? That was Wing Trinity,
Yes,
wasn't it?
it was, yes.
Yes. Yes, my fascist
Friggin'
dwarf.
Bill, yes.
I don't remember Bill, though.
I just remember him being annoying for some reason. We didn't like him.
Okay. Bill turned out to be a fantastic recurring character.
And you forgot
Why do
who
I
it
not
is.
remember this Bill character?
It wasn't like a captain or something.
I don't know. I don't remember the
But his
details
name was
of this
Bill.
campaign anymore. I don't even remember what it was you were doing.
Oh dear me.
What happened to our stream there on the timeline?
Whoa. I don't know. For
What
10
time was that?
That was 8:30 to 8:40 for 10 whole minutes.
What happened?
I don't know.
Oh no, it's just
No.
it drew weirdly.
I was going to say, because we've had continuous conversation, there's no way it could have gone down 10 minutes.
Yeah, sorry, I had to take a call. That's
Oh, right,
welcome
Ronnie,
back.
so it was you. Okay.
Are you fans of Dark
Dark
Heresy?
Heresy.
Do you feel like it could be used to run a Star Wars campaign?
I've never got into
System
Dark
performance?
Heresy.
What is it?
Am I right that it's kind of like the Baldur's Gate type
Baldur's Gate's
stuff?
Sword Coast.
Yeah, so Dark Heresy, I'm sure Dark Heresy was a similar sort of thing.
Or is it talking about Star Wars?
No, do you feel like it could be used to run a Star Wars campaign?
Do we need to Google?
Yeah. I should know what this is. Dark Heresy.
You see, you get the oh, that really shouldn't be on this screen, should it? That's gosh darn. There we go. Let's get it onto that one. Dark Heresy is a role-playing game.
Yes, I know it is. Oh, it is 40k. Of course it friggin' is.
Oh right, okay. Now I did
I'm
a 40k
embarrassed.
role-playing game. Well, heresy is a very 40k word, but I didn't click. Now, I played a 40k role-playing game back before there kind of was one, because the first edition of 40k was this book called Rogue Trader.
Yeah, I know Road Trader.
And it was played as a war game, but actually a lot of Rogue Trader was really role-playing game kind of content. So I decided that all it needed was a small change to the way wounds are done. I multiplied everyone's wounds by 10, and every time you dealt a wound, I rolled a d10. So if you did 2 wounds, you rolled 2d10, that's your damage. 7, 8, 9 on any of the dice you got a crit, 0 was insta-death. I wanted it to feel scary. And we had a quite brutal campaign, not many player deaths.
It's Warhammer, of course it's brutal.
It was interesting, but I actually found in many ways the backstory of 40k was quite limiting in what you could do. So, and I'm sure they've changed this in Dark Heresy, which I've not played Dark Heresy, but the character options available back then weren't great role-playing characters. You know, I had a Harlequin in a party and a Terminator, because that's what the army lists were. That's the nearest thing we had to characters, and so it didn't. You know, and the Marines just had too much of an advantage because of all of their role-playing-esque stuff. You know, when you read the compendium, all the capabilities that Marine has was just too much. And as a setting, it's very black and white. And when you're role-playing, you actually don't want black and white. You want a little bit of grey.
Yeah, not even with Star Wars, which is very rich in lore and a lot of things are set in stone. I wouldn't
Yeah,
want
but
things
like
to be black and white.
Palpatine is obviously evil in Star Wars. We know
Yes.
that as the
Yes.
audience, but nobody in Star Wars, like those characters, don't know Palpatine's evil.
No.
And you need that for, I think, a good campaign. And you don't get that in 40k. 40k is absolute. The rule of the Emperor is absolute. The laws of the universe are absolute, and that's really my issue with it for role playing. However, I have not read Dark Heresy. The new stuff I haven't.
No, I've
not
never really
up to
gotten
date
into
with
40k. I'm more familiar with, as in Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
I've
Medieval.
not read the new stuff in like I didn't even see second edition 40k, so I don't know. Sorry. Right. Where's my mouse? There's my mouse. Here is a question. Do you prefer games with or without alignment systems? Personally, I prefer games without them, but would love your Let's talk about alignment. Okay. There is nothing wrong with D&D, apart from alignments. But it's so easy not to use the alignments, it doesn't matter. Alignments were written by Gary Gygax, who was a Jehovah's Witness. He had a very Christian view of the world, and alignments are a very Christian view of the world. They are absolute. They put people into 9 character type tropes, and I have seen those 9 characters endlessly, and I'm sick of seeing them. I want shades of grey. Alignment, putting an alignment against your character and restricting what they can and can't do based on alignment, or as some people do it, acting and then assigning an alignment and then getting godly benefits or disadvantages based on that. Therefore, you're gonna, it still controls your actions. It doesn't work. It just creates the same characters over and over, but as an ideology, or as a way of looking at people and their behaviours, it's fundamentally flawed. Because what is good in the Salt Coast? What defines
Well,
good?
you hated that book.
Yeah. But I'm using it as an example because it's relevant.
Yes,
Alignment
okay,
ties into the gods and stuff, and there's no better example of D&D gods than Salt Coast.
Yeah.
What is good? Because as Gary Gygax didn't feel the need to explain that because he was looking at it through a very Christian mindset of Jehovah's Witness.
One of the biggest things that, I've noticed is paladins. Paladins are always seen as this sort of annoying character, but they're supposed to be lawful good. They're doing stuff for the good of the law and for justice, not for the people.
My point is, everyone thinks that they're doing good.
Yeah,
I'm not
even
going
evil
to
people
discuss
think that they're doing
the
good.
issue, but look at Brexit in the UK. You have 2
Yeah.
very entrenched points of view. Actually, you've probably got 3 or 4 very entrenched points of view, and every trench thinks it's on the right side.
They think that they're correct.
Yeah, they think they're good, and that is why good and evil doesn't work as a dichotomy, because it doesn't exist. It's in greys and it's in details and it's in which side of the Brexit.
Yeah, presumably it's derived from Lord of the Rings as well, and of course Tolkien being Christian, it's very yes, those are the dark orcs and everything else.
Lord of the Rings is based very much on
evilness.
his experience of the First World War, and you've got a clearly defined good guy and a clearly defined bad guy. The bad guy's the one who points the guns at you. The good guy's the ones pointing the guns in the same direction, and that was Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Whereas D&D wasn't born out of a conflict of that scale, but it was born out of that when alignments were written, the Jehovah's Witness came to the fore, and I prefer the part of Gary Gygax that was a fucking cocaine junkie party addict who would be driven.
What?
Sorry?
What?
Gygax was a cocaine junkie party addict who, no word of a lie, would be driven in a posh car that was driven by a model because he couldn't drive, and he would get a model to drive him to some other model's house and have sex with that other model. Gygax was a party animal.
Okay.
When he got kicked out of TSR, he took his money, went to Hollywood, and partied, and tried to get a D&D film made, but partied hard.
What's up, kitty?
Um,
You gonna come over here and be on camera? Oh.
Right. Loops or pool. I'm interested in the answer to that. Hopefully, I've given my view on alignments. In that they don't represent anything worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean,
in the world.
I used to quite like them as like a guideline, but now I just don't bother with it because, as you said, they're just too black and white. They're too rigid.
Yeah, I've just seen all of those characters. Right, alignments kind of seem stupid to me. Yep,
Well, yeah,
I
they are.
concur. I've had Paladin who killed and ate orphans while being lawful good. I've always said the most evil character is lawful good. Because like everyone thinks they're doing good. Everyone thinks that everyone's adhering to their own moral code, so they're all fundamentally good. And the reason I was mentioning Sword Coast is because there are so many gods. If your god is good, I mean, and there are like so many good gods in Sword Coast. I mean, there's like I think there's 4 lawful good gods of war on the same in the same pantheon. So if you're doing good by one god, you can't be doing good by another when they're
it's almost like even though you're playing in character and you've got one character, so you're going from their point of view. The alignments are from the point of view of dramatic irony. In that, say you think of the alignments, you think of a random character in a story, like a pre-existing one. You're saying, oh yes, they're say lawful evil, like they fit lawful evil, but again, that's from dramatic irony. As the audience, you're saying yes, they're evil because
I see what you mean.
The basis of the character and what happens to them. Whereas they don't think they're evil. Other characters don't necessarily think they're evil.
Yeah, they're just doing what seems right. It's the most appropriate in their situation.
Inconsistency. Yeah.
So,
there's a bigger text over there, but yes.
Yeah. You know what, actually, the little screen isn't actually that useful, is it? So, McRawbeck, I had a player who didn't really grok alignments. His neutral PC ran down the barkeep and killed him for his pocket change, then said, shit, better do something good to balance it out.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I think that's misunderstanding neutral, but at the same time, I say go with it. I prefer that character to somebody who's rigidly playing one of the three neutral characters.
That's a bit... That character specifically, to me, sounds like Jane Cobb.
Yes.
Like, getting angry over something and then going, oh shit, shouldn't have done that. Yeah, that's really good.
Dragon Querta, have you played or GM Starfinder?
No, we haven't.
If yet, what are your thoughts on the system? But I have spoken to Amanda Hammond-Coons, who's one of the co-designers on Starfinder.
And I got to film you both.
Yeah, she's a lovely lady.
Extremely pleasant.
Yes, and I like some of her thoughts on the way she approached the design and so on.
We're intrigued by Starfinder and Second Edition, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I
would like to play it.
I'm a little bit more intrigued by Pathfinder Second Edition.
Yeah.
Because when we were talking to Jason and he mentioned that crafting system, and I was... Sorry, not this Jason. Jason Bulmer is the designer of
Jason Bulmer.
Pathfinder.
He's American, I'm not.
I was name-dropping, I know. That was very shallow of me.
Your pal Jason.
My pal Jason.
Your best buddy.
And when he mentioned the crafting system and some of the things that I really just want to go through that and have fun with it.
Yes.
So yeah, that's on my wish list. Had another lawful good paladin who ended the world. Well, it's probably the right thing to do.
Yeah, because the world was being unlawful and was illegal. It broke the law.
Yeah, got to write up a citation.
Yeah.
Right, Agnes.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, what line would you say Agnes Truciator was?
She was... Well, actually, she had 3 stages in her character arc.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
She was absolute law, but lawful good, fundamentally, but it's absolute law. Then she went through her vengeance stage.
Yes.
And at that point, she was... what's between lawful and chaotic? There isn't.
Neutral.
Yeah, it is still neutral, isn't it? Yeah. So neutral good at that point. And then she found her redemption and it was all about love. And at that point, I don't know if I'd say she was chaotic good or neutral good at that point, but you know, she had a moral code. She knew right from wrong. It's just at the start she followed the law. The law was absolute with her. So, and here's the she I think was a fundamentally good person.
She'd been brainwashed.
But in the first part of her character arc, she was absolute. The law is like Judge Dredd levels of follow the law.
Yeah.
And then when she realised that the law was broken, and she kind of went through this vengeance stage of her development, we're talking about a character.
She arrested my bone naga.
Yes.
This naga who spent hundreds of years guarding a crash-landed airship with the dead in it, and she's like, "Right, you're under arrest."
Yeah, it was
I'm just
contraband.
like, what the fuck? Like, as a DM, I'm just like, wait, what? Like, that was the boss for that section of the campaign.
Oh, look how cute!
Huh. She's taken.
Sorry.
But you are cute. Wow.
Sorry, that didn't go to the next thing. So, Dragon Glider says, at first I was turned off of Pathfinder 2nd edition, but now I'm extremely excited for it. Yeah, I mean, I knew it was happening and it wasn't on my radar at all. It was only when I was talking to Jason about some of the things in it that I was like, wow, that's actually genuinely interesting. I want to read what you've done there.
Well, the thing is, if people want to actually go and watch the interviews, they can.
Yeah, put it up on this channel. So both Starfinder and Pathfinder, we've done interviews with the creators. So just type Com+1 Jason Bolmer and Com+1 Amanda Hammond-Coombs.
Yes.
If we remember, we'll come back and drop little cards in the video on at this point, but we won't remember.
Oh gosh,
No.
that's gonna that'll take ages. Take over for it.
Agnes for
PM.
Prime Minister.
She'd still be a better PM, to be fair.
Well, I think most people would be a better PM, but I kind of don't want to talk about British politics at the minute. It's a mess, guys. It's a mess. We, on behalf of all British people, I'd like to
apologise.
Well, I don't think there's any worth point apologising in the sense that I just want it to be known that I'm not that British. I don't drink tea. I was born here.
You were born in one of the most British parts of Britain.
Oh, I was. I am associated with the British people.
At least I was not born on this massive land.
I was actually thinking of begging for sympathy rather than apologising.
We need more time.
Don't we need to... not going there. Not going there.
No.
Just, oh, look. I can't fix it, but there's an issue with the edge. We've got a black bar on the edge of the screen.
Oops.
That's sad.
Oopsie daisy.
But
Yes.
our broadcast software is completely locked. The whole of Windows
So
is locked.
weird.
None of these buttons...
No.
Oh, wait. Windows is working. It is just XSplit
That is so weird. Does that mean we'll actually be able to terminate the broadcast? Well, we can do it on there, can't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't know what, like, if this is it updated tonight, maybe that's the problem. I've never had it crash like this before, ever.
No.
And it's annoying, because I wanted to play with the new Mevo.
Well, I'll have to wait
Borrowed
for
this
the time.
camera for tonight. I've set up a studio downstairs, which took me 2 hours to set up so I could play with this camera. Runs out of battery, and now XSplit's crashed.
Oh dear. I do have another topic though.
Oh.
So, talking about bards, how do you break out of the very stereotypical mould of a bard, which is basically a lazy rock star in fantasy times?
You'd be a poet.
Well, yeah, I don't necessarily mean that kind of... So that obviously, but in terms of like personality and the way you play the character.
There are two types of bard in my experience. There's I'm a musician, and there's I'm a charlatan.
Yeah. You can have charlatans though in the rogue class, especially in 5e now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
it's like a Charlton background
it's
thing.
the sort of semi-roguish bard.
Yeah.
Those are the two kind of tropes you see most often, and I think you just have to change the background to something else. Like if you're a bard, in history, a bard was somebody, and I always like to draw from history. I'm sorry, but a bard was somebody that travelled from village to village, essentially to spread news. They were essentially travellers, of no fixed abode, and would go from place to place telling stories. And to be honest, if you're honest, of all the bards you've played, how many times did you tell stories of the world? And it's hard to do that because often you're playing either in the GM's world or some published setting you haven't read or got stories to recite. So how do you do that when really that is the entire purpose of the character?
You've got to be a musician in real life and know how to improvise.
Or weave a story. I think bards will be the perfect character to be played by somebody who also GMs but isn't GMing this particular game. So it's a perfect class because you've got that GM mindset and you can work with the GM to just pick out a few bits of the history of the world. And as a player, as a GM, if you've got a player that's really interested in the history of your world, might even write up a few little short half-page stories that they can recount by the campfire, little tales of moral whatever. That would be fantastic. I'd love to have players that invested in my world, and I think that's what you need to do to shake up a bard. The alternative is we look at perhaps the most famous bard of all, William Shakespeare, who was a playwright and of good standing, and met royalty and stuff. This was a more high society kind of bard. So that's what I mean when I say change the background.
Well, yeah. I can think of another one that he wasn't a bard, he was a composer but in good standing, who was William Byrd. Fun fact, he was alive during the Tudor sort of period, so King Edward and Queen Elizabeth.
Right.
So it went from Catholic or Queen Mary as well, so Catholic to Protestant. Blah, blah. And he somehow managed to survive, even though he was writing religious music, because he was so good at tailoring to the people with what they wanted, but still got to write what he wanted, really. So
just gonna try and kick that. I'm wondering if I kick the camera back in, maybe it'll start connecting.
Loopsopool says, I propose a third bard type, the Lawmaster. They are searching for songs and stories in a Brothers Grimm style. Yeah, or like when Bilbo goes on his journey to Rivendell. He's finishing his book. Yeah,
an author, and having your works with you. But importantly, I think, is even if you only write half a page or one page, is as a bard, have some stories written down. Or some verses of song, so that you can actually recite stuff in the game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Rather than just being a bard because you've got some spell stuff, some rogue stuff, you're kind of jack of all trades, you can do a bit of healing and a bit of this, a bit of that, and it's about the character and what bards represent. Because bards is a real thing from history, and that be that thing.
And bards don't just play friggin' lutes either.
Oh, hell no, it's a terrible instrument to travel with.
Well, yeah.
It's too big.
No. This is a common misconception. The massive ones, like they go around to here, they're not lutes, they're called theorbos. They've got very sympathetic strings, you play them way up here and they're absolutely massive. Lutes are the small ones that you play down here. So yeah. But seriously, can you not just have lutes? There are so many medieval instruments you can put in, like recorders, shawms, fiddles, viols.
Triangles?
No.
Oh.
You didn't have metallic instruments back then. You had wooden instruments.
What about bells?
Oh, yeah, apart from bells.
Ba-doom! Sorry. Pathfinder has a Lawmaster Prestige class. When I get Pathfinder 2nd Edition, I will learn all about it.
You can have like a little tiny bard that you put on your lap like this. It's really adorable.
Ronnie says, when I think of bards, my mind goes immediately to Alan Adale from The Legend of Robin Hood. Not historically accurate, but I think he's one of the templates. Alan Adale.
Don't know who that is. I've only seen the Disney movie, by the way, so...
You didn't see Prince of Thieves?
No.
With Kevin Costner?
No, I have not seen the Kevin Costner. No, I'm a terrible person.
I can't think of Alan Adale from the story of Robin Hood in the general sense of the actual legend, unless I'm... Is that another name for one of the other characters?
I don't know. I don't know.
Not sure. It's been many years since I've seen an adaptation of that.
Or a mercenary satirist. What, so like Frankie Boyle? In fantasy form. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Versus can destroy you socially
and
buy themselves out to the highest bidder to make their enemies a nationwide laughingstock.
Well, it does, because there is the vicious mockery, which is the bard attack, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
And it would be good if a player who does that could, or if somebody who's sort of quick enough to do those instant put downs. The problem is, of course, is that I think the combat round comes around a bit too quickly to have a different thing every time. Really.
Yeah, can you think?
And it can be quite mean at the table as well, but yeah. But yeah, be a comedian and have a few jokes each week. Prepare a few jokes and be a comic. I'm down with that. Yeah. Right. Lawmaster is just a generic name.
Well,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, Lawmaster is the name of the DM in the One Ring. It's so generic.
I did actually... I've been working on an all-bard campaign.
Oh.
I did actually, in the first Brawlers campaign, I had a Bard's College, and I nicked an idea from Terry Pratchett where they had... and it was kind of mixing Terry Pratchett with the legendary city of Cadathil from Welsh mythology, where they got the Great Library in the Bard's College in Cadathil. And I thought, right, I want this great library to be a bard thing. So the bards were the lawmasters of the world, making a note of all heroic deeds type thing. But in the Great Library were these books that, this was straight from Pratchett, were books that basically wrote themselves. The quills were writing continuously and sort of recording everything. That was, I suppose, the sort of bard lawmaster, as it were. So the players would often come across bards who were just recording the deeds of the players. And seems very interesting. And of course then a lot of the history of the world, when you want to find out how to defeat some monster or other, you ended up having to sort of raid some bard's tomb or something to find their works. Right. A loot is a terrible thing to waste.
Well, if you chuck it in a river, yes.
Well, if you're travelling, I think it's just going to get trashed.
Yeah.
I like a good creepy warlock fiddle, says Scott Poe. So what? Oh, yes, little fiddly, yes. I'm with it. All these musical instruments.
There is this affiliation with fiddles and the devil. It's the devil's instrument.
Where's that come from?
Oh, ages past. Yeah. I think it was down to the fact that you've got things like the organ, which is associated with churches, and organs go back a very long way. But then you've got folk instruments like the fiddle that was seen as more kind of pagan or for the poor. And...
I think it's just because they didn't have fretboards. So they're like, how the hell does this? Where are the notes?
No.
I'm joking. Ronnie says, I ran a Pendragon campaign where the knights attended a festival of bards and musicians at Donington, including Ian, son of Anders, and the priests of Judas.
Right.
Were there aeroplanes flying overhead?
Donington.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right next to the airport, isn't it?
He's the rooster in the carton.
Cartoon.
cartoon. Oh, is he? Oh God! Now you've got
about
the character that Ronnie said. Now you've made me put the hamster dance in my head.
Rooster in the cartoon.
Yeah. In the Disney film, there's like a big rooster guy who's going around like this, and he whistles and he does the narration.
I haven't watched.
Because everyone is American apart from Robin Hood, weirdly, because it's Disney. But yeah, of course, makes sense. Yeah, God, I'm such a numpty. But the hamster dance, why did that happen? They took the whistle tune in Robin Hood and they put it into a sort of fast remix and made it the hamster dance.
I've not seen this adaptation. I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening.
I do. Make it stop.
Loop Sospool says, for the Old Bard campaign, they are the last of their culture and are trying to collect their myths and songs to be remembered before their civilization is wiped out. Any advice?
Ooh.
Right. Where would myths... See, if the myths aren't already recorded, then they'd be passed down verbally. And if they are the last of their culture, that's not going to be possible. So perhaps they're talking to other cultures...
Or...
for the other sides of the story.
I know it doesn't read this way, but it seemed to imply to me that not they're trying to collect the myths for the first time, but if the majority of the bards have been destroyed, that would mean that their works had also been destroyed. So therefore they're trying to
rediscover it,
reacquire it.
Well, I was actually thinking about this another way.
You could do that.
What if they already have the myths, and now it's like, how do you preserve them when there's going to be no one to read them? So you've got to take these myths around to other cultures and try. Do you want the stories to be remembered? So you're going to they'll have to rework the myths in each culture they go to rework the myths into the cultures of the people that they're visiting.
Especially if those cultures are directly involved with the bards and they have a completely different side of the story.
Yeah. So, but imagine if this had happened in our past. This could be where we got the legend of Atlantis from, for example. It was a dead civilization. So, how did this civilizations get into our sort of consciousness as a people? We all know about Atlantis. We don't know where the hell it was, when it was,
or if
it even absolutely was. Yeah, but the legend has lived on, and maybe that's what your bards are trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I like that.
Alright, Ronnie says, I set the Bards Festival in Donington because it's where the Monsters of Rock Festival and the current Download Music
Yes, I'm
Festival
aware of
happens.
Download. Yes. But then there's also Tatton Hall that does Bloodstock, so you could use that as a name as well. Not too far from Donington either, actually. It's in Tamworth.
Does it also have aeroplanes going overhead?
I haven't been there for a few years, so I don't know. We've got tents and stuff.
Dragon Querta says, Loopsapol, here's an idea. Have them research a way to ascend into the Akashic Collective. Is that the Aarakocra?
I don't know.
I don't know. Ooh.
That's reminded me of the collective from Ziltoid.
I'm going to have to Google it. The Akashic Collective. Okay. Akashic Collective. Akashic Records. Sacred exploration of your soul's journey.
There you go. Akashic Records.
In Theosophy and Anthroposophy.
There's a collective of 59 people on Facebook.
Records. The Akashic Records are a compendium of all human events. Collective unconsciously. In the collective unconscious.
Okay.
There. I wasn't even aware of this, but that's quite cool.
Yeah.
What's our next topic?
Well, that was all the topics I thought of today.
Oh,
apart from one bonus one, which is, what NPC character would you be?
if I was in a campaign, in a modern day campaign or a fantasy?
Up to you.
Because if it's a fantasy...
Yeah, okay, let's keep fantasy.
Yeah,
'cause
okay. Obviously I'm a Goliath. I'm very tall.
You're not that tall.
Yeah.
She's not.
I'm
more
also-
like elf height.
Okay, alright, I can be an elf. But obviously, obviously, I use a longsword. This is more arming sword length, but actually on Mia, I suppose technically it would be a short sword.
Bill. She's not Bill.
I don't remember Bill. Why do I not remember this character? Oh, was he the dwarf whose house she went in to do the
Quite
whole dwarf
possibly,
politics?
yeah. Quite possibly.
So I would be a sword wielding, and I use or used to use back when I used to do sword fighting, a sword with quite long reach.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the fastest sword in the world. The balance point is, I think it's like it's here-ish. Yeah, there you go. How many fingers is that?
Oh, yes, he's bloody hard to kill.
8
That's right.
fingers on balance. So it's not the fastest sword, but lots of reach and power.
He was hard to kill, I remember now. He was a pain in the arse.
I don't remember this NPC.
I think we captured him for a while. Or he was definitely a recurring character and he was with us for a while.
I don't remember. Right, but this is me as an NPC. That was your question.
Yes.
Right, so I'm an elf with a sword. That much we know. Now that actually rules out quite a lot of stuff already.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also, right, I'm a programmer, I'm quite intelligent, and I know a lot about history and stuff. So I think I need, and I'm definitely more of a mind person than a physical person. Because, I'm too old to be physical. So, I think I'd have to be a spell sword.
Okay. Well, the thing is...
You are the rock star bard.
I'm a bard because I'm a musician. But I'm not just a musician, that's not my only thing. Like, I do like the idea of being more sneaky, but yeah, I think... Okay, fine, I'm a bard.
You're the charlatan bard.
Fine, I'm not charlatan, I don't think
The
so.
sneaky.
Well, yes and no.
Where else are you going to get your stealth from?
Yes, but I think if I was a bard, because bards need to be quite sort of extrovert, then okay, yeah, I'd be more extrovert and get drunk quite a lot, because I like beer.
You'd be very cliche.
I would, wouldn't I? But I've been a rock
What
star.
species? Is it halfling?
Oh, no! No, it's not! Jesus Christ, I'm not 3 foot. However many it is. I don't know, I suppose I'm probably a half-elf. I like the idea of a half-elf. More so than a human.
Okay.
Bit androgynous looking. Although that's a stereotype as well, isn't it? But I like the idea of half-elves, they're kind of cheeky. I'm so stereotypical, it's terrible.
Oh, is it loops or spool?
Yes.
Loops or spool
That
says,
makes more sense.
I would likely be the one who was getting buried after getting killed, probably for being trapped. Oh, there's no. The world is changing. It's getting safer for trans people, I think.
Safer. That went really dark.
No, he's the dwarf at the checkpoint.
Oh.
There was a dwarf, yes, at the entrance to
fucking Bill.
Ashad, yes.
Yes.
There was a guard that you didn't kill, and he was an official in a
I think we
Nazi
tried
regime.
to get past him, and then we couldn't, so we had to go back and what the hell to do.
He's an official in a Nazi regime. Of course, he's going to be obstreperous. Thank you
And
for
on the
reminding
metal
me.
boat. Oh yes, yes.
Ah, yeah. Well, yes, of course. Yeah, I think he had to come back. After the the previous encounter.
Yeah, he was on the metal boat with the giant gun on
Yeah,
it.
the gunship. Yeah.
No, true. I would hate to live in America right now.
Yeah, I'll give you this. Don't really want to talk about politics, but they did go fascist.
Yeah.
It's still moving in the right direction. Keep the faith. You'll get there. All right. So, that's it. That's it.
We're out of questions.
Oh my god! The question is,
Questions.
are we going to come back and do another quick stream with the other camera to make sure it does work?
Well, we've been going for... How long have we been going for?
We've been going for... I don't know, because
an hour and a
YouTube's
half.
changed.
An hour and a
Okay.
half. Is,
We could come back and do like a quick 20-minute if we can fire the camera up.
yeah, that's the thing.
Don't know what's going on with the tech.
No. Maybe we should come back to it.
Okay. So next video is going to be it's going to
We didn't talk about... Yeah, never mind.
we were going to do that as a whole segment, weren't we?
Oopsie.
The next video, Jason has signed me up to do this video because you already mentioned it in our last live chat.
Yes.
So apparently I have to make one on the prisoner dilemma.
Yes.
No, not the prisoner dilemma.
Yes.
The trope of starting a campaign as a prisoner.
Yes.
A prisoner
Yeah.
dilemma is the whole you kill orcs. What do you do with the kids?
Oh, right, okay.
It's an old tropey encounter.
Mm-hmm.
No, the starting a campaign as a prisoner. It's a bit of a trope, and he wants me to tell you all how to mix it up, and that's going to be a minis video. And I'm painting a couple more minis before I make it.
Yes. But in the meantime, if you haven't... It's not like I've been transporting prisoners. Well, kind of like Skyrim then.
Yeah. Well, no, Skyrim, you start off as the prisoner. I like Scott Poe's take on it. I will be mixing it up, and I might be stealing that idea, because I haven't thought of any yet.
No. But if you haven't seen my video, which is the first most used thing ever, which is starting in a tavern, then go ahead and watch it, because I get all these miniatures out, and it's really cool.
And that directly leads into one that I made on exactly the same topic a couple of years ago, so you can go find that one, which is an Encounter Ideas Taverns video.
If you wish.
So you can sort of do a double bill, and then you can directly compare me and Jason and decide that I'm better.
Well, apparently you're cute.
I am. The tavern video was phenomenal.
Oh, thank you, Scott.
Which one, though?
Well, obviously, my one.
Obviously, yours is fresh in his
Yeah, but
mind,
I just talked about mine, so...
But I mentioned mine. Stay out of this, Colin. It's for your own safety.
There we go, new one. Thank you, Scott. Oh. There's that famous line in Firefly that Zoe says to Wash. I think that might be quite relevant right now. Where are you actually going? Are we doing the stream?
I'm done with it. The audience prefers you.
No.
Remember that sex we were having ever again?
Wait, yeah, exactly. Wait a minute, there's a couple more things before we end on this bombshell. Some of you are the prisoners, some of the guards, something comes along and kills the rest of the caravan, you have to band together to survive. Yes, I think I may have done that once before, in a time of old.
I like it.
The cute one. Wait, are you calling me cute, Phil? Lubesaw still likes you though.
Aww.
Wow, there's like drama of who's cute and who's not cute now. Right, we should probably go because I'm running out of things to say.
Alright guys, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you so
Sorry
much.
about the tech things that we were going to have so much fun on this new camera, which we borrowed. I will borrow it again.
Yes. We'll see you very soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.